Hi everybody, it's Claire back with another art journal video. This is day 15 of the Art by Marlene Stencil Advent calendar. And it's this really cool stencil with all these little patterns on. So I decided I would do some heat embossing with some white clear embossing powder. And I have used a sponge to collect some of the embossing ink and popped it through the stencil just as you would if it was paint. This is a technique that I saw Marlene do a few days ago. It's brilliant. Never thought about doing it. So how bizarre is that? I'm sure lots of you have tried this sort of technique and it's not particularly new to any of you, but you know, sometimes you just come across these things and you think, how have I not thought about this? So I did this across the tag. I decided I was going to create a resist on the tag using the embossing powder, and then I was going to use my watercolour paints to add a nice colourful background. So just doing a little bit at a time. At this time of the year I often have the heater on in my art room, so it makes the atmosphere quite dry, and I didn't want the embossing powder to dry too quickly, so not the powder, the ink. So I just did a few at a time. And as always, it's magic, isn't it, watching it heat set. I just think it is like doing chemistry. It's incredible. So just popping a few that are just going off the edges as well. And then again, just going to pop some powder on those. And if there was any excess powder that was where I didn't want it to be, I did brush it off before I heat set it, just so that it wasn't affecting the pattern at all. Just the last two bits. I just use a dry paintbrush to knock any excess off. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with my watercolours. These are a mixture of all sorts of colours, Winsor and Newton, and I don't even know, so many. And as you can see, I've got favourites. I've got ones that I use all the time. They are my favourite colours, and I just always head for those. I think it's the same. It's the same with my paints as well. As you know, I do love my brights. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm heading with this. So I'm just pulling these colours down the tag. There's no gesso on my tag either to start off with, so I am just letting the paint do what it wants to do, not worrying too much about where it goes or whether it blends at all, just going with it. So I'm pulling these colours down, gradually getting lighter, kind of going through the rainbow in a sense, I suppose. And yes, like I say, allowing the colours to bleed into one another. So I did have quite a lot of water on my brush as well, so the tag did end up quite wet, quite puddly by the time I'd finished. But that's how I kind of create that nice flowy background. So I did heat dry it after I'd finished as well, and then I decided I would add some blue splatters, and of course they kind of just mingled and spread out a bit with the colours that were wet on the tag, so I created quite a nice effect. So then once it was dry, I'm using this little triangle pattern that's on the small stencil just to add some contrast onto my tag, just adding in a little bit of black, just popping a few of these shapes on there as well, into the spaces that are left. And like I've said on previous videos, I'm using little makeup sponges just because I'm able to be a bit more precise with where I'm putting the paint, and it just makes it a little bit easier. So now I'm just going to outline these fabulous swirly shapes that remind me of balls of wool, actually. I'm just doing a couple of loose lines around the outside of those. And then edging the tag with black archival ink just to create that kind of nice border as well, and it kind of connects the black as well that's on the tag with those little triangle shapes. And then I added a little bit of text stamping popped the tab on the top. A lot of these processes are the same for my tags. I'm quite looking forward at the end to doing a little montage of all the tags together. It'll be quite fun to see how they've worked. And then, of course, I'm using these die cuts from the Golden Oldie Collector's Edition. Just such lovely, bright, fun, colourful images. There is always something you can find in there that works brilliantly. And then I wanted to use this kooky little owl, and I was going to put him at the bottom, but then I was like, there's so much space up above, so decided I would sit him on a leaf halfway, well actually a third of the way up the tag, just to kind of break up that space. And using Marlene's sticky glue to pop this in place. I am loving glue in little applicators like this now. It just makes life so easy. Not having to faff about with a glue stick. And then just using my Stabilo oil pencil just to add a little bit of a shadow around that owl, because my background is quite busy. And rather than water activating it, I'm just smudging it with my finger. That is because the embossing will act as a resist and I won't be able to activate it very successfully on there. So I didn't even bother trying. Using one of the sticky quotes from one of Marlene's packs as well. These are just so easy to use, a bit like the Tim Holtz ones. You can just snip them up and pop them where you want them to be. You don't even need to get any glue out. And then I'm pretty sure that was about it for this tag. So I'm just outlining those little quote words just to make them pop out a little bit, help them stand out from the background. Again, I'm using my Stabilo oil pencil and I am literally just drawing round them. So that technique is just to pull them forwards just so that they don't disappear quite so much. And then of course it's nearly Christmas, it's time to get the glitter glue out. I prefer this to using loose glitter just because you don't end up with glitter everywhere. It's a little bit more easy to control, and I'm just popping a few touches of that onto those little hearts at the top of the tag. So that is day 15. I cannot believe there's only 10 days to Christmas. That is actually slightly terrifying. I'm not organised at all. Thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying this little series of videos. I'll see you again tomorrow for another one. Thank you for watching. Bye.